Rebel Alliance Briefing Room Podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR.KaileJohansson.us. That's RABR.KaileJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KaileJohansson.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello. Hello. Andrew can't be here today because we postponed recording on the weekend like we normally do. I was a little under the weather, had a cold, lost my voice, so I couldn't really talk. So to make up time, I'm going to record this today. And today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Andor Episode 8, Narkina 5. We'll first talk about feedback for a little bit. We don't really have any news today. Then we'll get into the question of the week and predictions and thoughts. So, everyone, please take your seats in the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room. Spoiler alert. Danger. You're about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled. That's right, and because we have a different recording time this week, got a different setup. You can see my camera is a little different looking, and you can see a different angle. I've got, my lightsabers, my cheap $5 Walmart lightsabers in the back there, and then you can see more of my bobbleheads in the background there, and of course I've got my Star Wars shirt. This is a concept kind of shirt. Mandalorian style. Anyway, today we're talking about Andor Narkina 5, and the episode starts out where Cassian is on Naamos, and he's with a bunch of prisoners who are being herded onto a transport, and they're kind of pulling him up, and they're like, "Hey, what's your name?" And then they assign him a cargo ship to transport to get on. And Andor says that he's from Dearest Plata. He's ordered on board a transport heading for Narkina 5. Other prisoners also are directed to other locations, including Belvis. Andor and his fellow prisoners are ordered to remove their shoes and have their hands shackled to their seats. And then we switch back to Coruscant, and Cyril is working on his computer in the Imperial Bureau of Standards when he's visited by two ISB officers. Later, Karns is greeted in an interrogation cell by Dedra Meeros. She's back, and she wants answers. She tells him that she's now over the Morlana sector and wants his assistance in filling in some gaps on the Ferrix incident. Meeros tells Karn that she has found out that he had filled 6 false requests to the Bureau of Standards Data Center for information suggesting that Andor was working on the fuel refinery industry. And, basically he's just trying to get attention so that people will go after him. Meeros asks Karn why he's doing that, and he explains that he has been using the tools and resources available to search for Andor, who he regards as a murderer and a threat to public order, due to the incidents on Ferrix. Meeros tells Karn that he is engaged the curiosity of the ISB and asks what he is up to. He explains that he's trying to clear his name and following the events, and Meeros asks if there's any omissions that Lieutenant Belvin's report, and explains that he is not allowed to read the report despite signing it. He was forced to sign the report no matter what it said in it. And Meeros gives him the report and exits the room for him so he can study it. And then we switch back and we see the transport descending onto Narkin 5, which is covered in an ocean. Peering through viewports, Andor can see several large maritime ships. Back on Coruscant, Meeros delivers her report on the Starpath unit that was recovered on Ferrix to several high-ranking ISB officials, including Yularen and Partridge. Meeros argues that the thefts of the Imperial technology is occurring on a galactic scale. Meeros also briefs the audience about Andor and informs them that he has murdered 2 corporate security personnel. Meeros believes that Andor was the acting of transferring of the Starpath unit to a person codenamed Axis, who she thinks is essential to organizing the rebel efforts to acquire specialized Imperial gear. Yorlin goes through a list of items that Meeros requests for her investigation, including a full planetary commitment of garrison tech packages, Series 9 Spectrum surveillance, local agent funding, and a code droid. Yorlin thinks that this is a expensive investment, but Meeros counters that it's a fraction of the price of what they've lost in technology so far. Besides apprehending Andor, Meeros plans to capture Axis next. Partagrass backs up Meeros, saying that Axis has been nimble in spreading his activities around the galaxy. They are unaware of the scope of activities to the full extent. Meeros describes the events on Ferrix as Axis' first mistake. Meeros plans to search for Andor on Ferrix as part of a wider hunt. And then we go back to Andor, and he's getting off the transport into the prison. There's a little docking area, and they're ordered to disembark, and the warden informs prisoners that they will be assigned to an Imperial factory due to labor abilities. He informs the prisoners of their duties and shifts, and the warden then tells the prisoners to maintain control over the prisoners by activating a shock-inducing floor. The warden explains that that was merely level 1, and usually the level will be much higher. Back on Coruscant, Karn is finished reading Bevlin's report, and he informs Meeros of several omissions, including criminal negligence by his commanding officer, Chief Inspector Hine, and a total lack of Imperial authority on Ferrix, and the fact that Andor was assisted by local accomplices. Meeros also questions Karn about the description of Andor's accomplice, whom he describes as a tall older man wearing a gray cloak and dark boots. Karn recalls the accomplice had a distinctive voice. In return for Karn not filing any more requests for information, Meeros promises to tell the Bureau of Standards that he was of good service to the Empire today. Before leaving, Karn emphasizes that he was a competent deputy inspector who solved a double murder and found a killer in 2 days. Karn offers his help for her to find Andor and his handler. He emphasizes that he could be a valuable asset to the Empire going forward. Meeros warns him not to raise the ISB's attention and to forget this happened. Now we go back to the prison, and we're back on the factory floor. Andor, who is dressed in a white and orange uniform, is led by his captors into the prison following a brief delay. He's led down a lift into the factory floor, which is called Unit 5 D2D. Andor is greeted by his fellow prisoners, a fellow prisoner named Kino Loy, who is the manager of the unit. Andor introduces himself as Keith. Loy tells the prisoners that this is a 12-hour shift and assigns Andor to Table 5. Loy tells Andor and the prisoners that they are competing against each other and other floors. Loy has 249 days left in his sentence and says that he has a free hand of running the floor. He emphasizes that he wants to maintain a high level of productivity and tells Andor to come to him if he has problems or with his inmates or is sick. At Table 5, Keith meets his fellow inmates Jimbok, Zal, Taga, Ulif, Ham, and Lucia Clark Marshy. I believe it's Rooster Clark, who we see in Rogue One as one of the pilots or people that are backing him up when they get on to Seraph. The prisoners are short one man since the floor's productivity level has been deemed unsatisfactory. Loy orders the prisoners to rush production, with the slowest table being punished. The prisoners accelerate work on their machinery. Yeah, I believe he's one of the fighters that helps lead the fight on Scarif in Rogue One. All right, so elsewhere, Mon Mothma has drinks with her husband, but admits she was only putting on a show. She tells her husband that she is planning to muster votes to oppose new imperial legislation. The couple is joined by Tay Kolma, and her husband explains that she is trying to promote the message that she is saving the Empire from the Emperor. Mothma briefly mentions her husband's days as a cadet. Tay says that the Empire's new legislation is having a chilling effect, and that's when Perrin, her husband, leaves. Tay warns that the Empire's new banking regulations are hampering their operations. Mothma and Tay are joined by Lita, Mothma's daughter, who notices that Tay is around. Mothma distracts Lita by telling her that her father is looking for her, and Mothma speaks with a purple-robed senator who has come to talk about the efforts to muster votes. Back on Narkina 5, Andor and other prisoners queue up. Kino tells the prisoners to keep it down, and there's another prisoner on the bridge. Back on Coruscant, Mothma and her allies discuss Emperor Palpatine's new laws, including the public order resentencing directive. A bearded senator expresses concern about the dangers of Palpatine's unlimited new security powers. A female senator says they are living in dangerous times, while another male senator also remarks about the Chandlerian hospitality at the party. And we're back on the prison Narkina. Inmates Zool and Jimbok brief Andor about how his electronic monitored cell works. His bay he's allowed to sit in while he's resting. The cells are equipped with refreshers and food, and that comes in a tube or something. He says the better we do, the better they add more flavor enhancements to it. Jimbok asks Andor what he did to end up in prison, and Andor's a little evasive. Jimbok reveals that Imperial authorities doubled everyone's sentences recently following the events on Aldhani. And Taga talks about the public order sentencing directive. Andor feigns ignorance of the events on Aldhani. The other prisoners claim that rebels slaughtered an entire garrison, but others dispute that claim. Prisoners try to get Andor to tell him more information, and Andor ignores the numbers, but Kino asserts his authority and threatens the inmates to break up and stop talking about these things. The intercom over the system intercom comes on and says that the prisoners are to go to their cells, and Andor is the last to comply and enters his cell before the floors begin flashing red. And when the floors flash red is when they're charged. So they're not allowed to leave their bunks during sleep time. Back at the banquet in Coruscant, Perrin asks his wife Mothma to consider how often they spend their time admiring the view. It's just a beautiful view, and they never have a chance to look at it. After some flattery from her guests, Mothma tells her guests that she and Perrin came as teenagers when she became a senator at age 16. Per Chandrila custom, they were married at a young age. Mothma asks about Tay, and Perrin says he left already for an earlier function in the morning. And the party kind of winds down. Over the course of 30 shifts, Andor adjusts his life in his automated prison cell, which comes with food and a retractable toothbrush. The prisoners also undergo an automated shower before being given fresh clothes. They then work together on assembling mechanical components. When Andor slows down, Kino tells him to hurry back up because he doesn't want anybody to be punished. And back on Ferrix, we see Bix and Brasso tending to Marva, who fell while observing the former hotel that the ISB has claimed as headquarters. B2EMO is also present at the Andor residence. Despite her old age and missing her adoptive son, Marva is still a rebel at heart. Meanwhile, Val and Cinta have a reunion, and Cinta affirms her commitment to the rebellion as well as her love for Val. And they almost kiss. There's a scene there where they almost kiss. And they watch Bix and Brasso from the street because they're looking for Andor because they have orders to kill him. Bick visits Salman Pack at the repair business and at the Repack Salvard. Losing the hotel has made it hard for local rebels to conduct their business. She tells Pack that she needs to look for something at the back, and Pack tries to discourage her. She says it's urgent. Bix climbs up the ladder where the radio transmitter is hidden inside that column, and she attempts to send messages. and we assume that's going to Luthen. On Coruscant, Keela receives a message from Bix, who's trying to find Andor because his mother is ill. Keela informs Luthen, and he states that they should not respond in order to avoid endangering their operation. Uh, Luthen disagrees. Keela informs Luthen and says that they should not respond in order to not endanger their operations. Luthen disagrees and says that their contact on Ferrix can help show them the right direction. Uh, and he says that Bix knows much more than they do about Andor's um, operations. Kayla thinks that the ISB may have taken over her radio and wants to shut down all contact with Ferrix, but Luthen is unwilling to abandon him. Luthen asks where Val and Cinta have reached on Ferrix, and he tells Kella that the woman's name is Bix, and says that Val can check on whether the situation on Ferrix is safe. He emphasizes that he is not slipping, but coming out of hiding. And Kayla disagrees and warns about the dangers of exposing themselves to vulnerability. Luthen is reluctantly orders that the transmission be shut down and turned off so that they can't contact him anymore. Back on Ferrix, Bix reacts in frustration because she's not receiving an answer to her signal, and she notices the line was shut off. Then we see Luthen get in a craft, and he tells the ship's computer the coordinates for Segra Milo. The ship's computer identifies 4 routes and opts to take the longest route there. Back on the prison factory, a prisoner named Vimos commits suicide by jumping out of his cell onto the electrical floor at night. The other prisoners grumble about the loss of a colleague, and several show little sympathy for him. Kino orders the prisoners to calm down before the announcer orders the prisoners to be returned to their sleeping platform. On Ferrix, Bick watches a crowd gathering outside the salvage yard, and Imperial officers have arrested Pack after summoning him to the reappropriated hotel, probably because of the transmission stuff. Wilhelm Pack is visible and outraged and is restrained by Imperial officers. The lead Imperial officer, Tigo, orders stormtroopers to disperse the crowd. Tigo recognizes Bix as she flees at urging of Brasso, who is detained by Imperial personnel. Bix runs through the narrow, winding streets of Ferrix. Meanwhile, Luthen lands his aircraft at a partisan base on Segra Milo, which is guarded by Benthic. Luthen asks Saw Gerrera if he is involved in the Aldani heist, but neither confirm or deny that they are involved. Getting down to business, Luthen offers to trade several pieces of stolen technology, including a full set of Imperial drive adapters and 3 sealed Steerguard targeting deflectors. After Luthen confirms that he has the items with him, Gerrera asks what the price is. Luthen tells Gerrera that he wants him to meet Anto Kigari, a contact who has been probing the Imperial power station at Spielhaus. Luthen says that Kiger has found some weakness in the defense and that he has an angle. Gerrera is dismissive of Krieger's capabilities, but Luthen insists that Gerrera hear out Krieger's plan willing to work with Kigar, Gerrera offers, but the three targeting deflectors they have come with conditions that he work with Krieger. If he doesn't, Luthien warns that he will get someone else to take the deflectors. When Gerrera insists on working alone, Luthien tells him that he's got to change. Gerrera is unwilling to risk his people for someone else, and Luthien tells Saw that they need to work together to bring down the Empire, saying that oppression leads to rebellion. Gerrera insists that he is not a mercenary, but Luthien asks him to imagine Spielhaus in flames. Gerrera says that Kigar is a separatist and a my Peel as a neo-republican. Gerrera reminds Luthien of various rebel factions that lost, including the Partisan Alliance sectors, human cultists, and galaxy partisans. He asks Luthien what he is, and Luthien responds that he is a coward and a man who is terrified that the Empire's power will grow beyond their means to stop it. Luthien says that he needs to put aside their differences, and Gerrera counters by claiming that he is the only one with the clarity of purpose. Luthien laughs and says that anarchy is a seductive concept for a man hiding in cold caves and begging for spare parts. Gerrera laughs and refuses to buy the parts from Luthien, telling him to find someone else to help Kigar. Back on Ferrix, Bix is captured by Imperial officers and led away in handcuffs at the hotel. Tigo informs Meeros that Bix is on her way and asks if they should remove the battered Pack, who is bound in a chair. Meeros says that she wants Bix to see Pack. After Bix sees Pack, Meeros permits the stormtroopers and Tigo to remove Pack from the room. She wants to kind of show what's going to happen for intimidation reasons. Meeros introduces herself to Bix before a burly Imperial guard ushers her towards a chair. Back on Narkina 5, Andor and his fellow prisoners continued to assemble the machinery parts. And that brings up our credits.
Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, Hangar 35.
35. That's right. Back on Tatooine. Yeah, this week, the last part of the episode kind of ties into our question of the week. The question is we're asking what is Andor and his fellow prisoners on that floor building, and what device is it? I kind of think it's like some sort of battery device, or power device, to supply power to something. Could be a TIE fighter, could be an AT walker, or it could be the Death Star itself. We know it. Building parts for the Death Star is a huge thing. That's the size of a planet. So there's a lot of equipment that needs to go in there in a short time. So we don't know.
Feedback at KyleJohansson.us. That's feedback, KAILE.
So yes, you can send us feedback about the question, anything you heard in the episode that you are interested about or want to talk about or have opinions on. you can go to our website. We have a link on that side, the left-hand side, that goes to feedback, and you fill out a form. Tell us what you want to be called by, and you put in your feedback in there. Tell us how much we sucked, or give us your opinion on anything in the episode. The question of the week. There is another link over there. Oh, over there. Yep. For question of the week, you can answer the question of the week, and we'll tally those up and talk about those on the show if anybody ever answers them. Usually it's only me that answers those questions. So we've got that. And then, of course, this goes up on video on YouTube. And there's a comment section there that you can do comments on there also. That's our feedback segment. Again, sorry that Scott wasn't able to join us today. We normally do this on the weekends, and because I had the cold, which you still may be able to hear in my voice, we skipped it, and now I'm kind of catching up. We still plan on watching the episode that aired today on Wednesday this weekend. So please look forward to that. This should be up in the feed in the next day or so, including the video. And we will also be reviewing, probably just me reviewing the Tales of the Jedi episodes that came out. They all came out at once, 6 episodes. Most of them pretty short. They're about 20 minutes long. I think a couple of them are about 30 minutes long. I'll be reviewing those later on also.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast.
Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR.KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. Sorry about that. So my cough is back.
This is Andrew Scott. Say goodbye now.
Bye-bye. You like my blue headphones? Anyway, again, Scott's not here. We're making up time, so it's just me by myself today. Have a good one.